you know it's right, you're going to know it's right because that person makes you better.
Wow.
That person makes you more complete. They make you more whole.
Things that I do differently than they perceive it from other people, you know, and maybe it has to do with the color of my skin, you know, so that
illness, people don't want to do the work. They want to take a scripture, throw it on there, and keep it moving. But that's not how it works. This is a living, breathing process. Like we have to do the work. It might be healthy, it might be exercise, it might be prayer, it might be therapy, it might be journaling.
We look forward to bringing you content and encouraging you as we are encouraged as well through these times. They can accept some good conversation, some real conversation, you know.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Faith and Feelings. My name is Brianna.
And I'm Brittany.
And we have a special guest with us. Her name is Ruth. And today the topic is family. And Ruth, would you just like to take a moment to sort of, you know, introduce yourself, give us some background about your life and who you are?
Sure. Well, my name's Ruth, and I'm from Buffalo. And I run a ministry with my husband called Steps. It's in South Buffalo, and we are currently going to have 4 kids coming in September. We have 2 boys and a girl, and then we'll have another girl. And my husband is from England, so we have a little cultural differences. That's fun. Yeah, this is about me. Interesting note, I got married when I was 21, so I've been married all my 20s. And next year, I'll be married 10 years.
Wow.
Excellent. Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow.
How did you two meet?
We met at Steps, which is the non-for-profit that we run together.
Mm-hmm.
I came to volunteer, and just from there, I volunteered. He got my number sneakily, before I even knew. And then he started calling. I thought he did that to all his volunteers, but no.
Nope. I didn't get any calls.
My mom was like, "Who's this British guy on the phone?"
I remember their courtship and just all of that. It's just beautiful. Beautiful,
Weren't you
godly.
the one that told her that she was going to marry him?
Yeah.
Ruth, I'm telling you, I have told her this story. Yes. Yes. When I first met her husband, I'm telling you, like, the thought just came to me, this is Ruth's husband. Like, out of all the people in the world, this is Ruth's husband. And
You guys think you're crazy. It was funny because marriage was not on my mind.
Yeah.
No. Yep. Back to Ruth, if you don't mind. Ruth said she was thinking about being a nun.
At 21? Lord.
But the Lord had different plans.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
Yeah. Beautiful. Just the way the Lord did it, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It really is.
So, Brittany, did you kind of want to get into why we felt like family was an important topic?
Well, sure. We just wanted to talk about family today, just about the family structure and how important that is. We feel like in today's time that, a lot of people and even society kind of have a negative view of family and even starting a family and different things like that. People kind of do things a little differently. So we just want to go back to me, it's like those old school values of just having a family, starting a family, and how important that is, on all different levels, for a 2-parent home, married, and even, of course, in this aspect, a Christian, raising your children up in the way of the Lord. So, we just feel like it's important to speak about those things.
Yeah, that plus to add on to what Brittany was saying, I actually had a coworker who knew that I had like just given birth a few months prior to the statement that he made, and he was basically saying that it's really selfish to bring children in the world right now. And I feel like that's kind of like the narrative that's going out there. And then especially everything that happened with the pandemic and now like other stuff that's happening in society. I feel like a lot of people are hesitant to want to bring a child into the world, or if you have children, you're like, what in the world did I do? And how are they going to survive all of this madness? That plus I feel like as people, we're just busier now than we've ever been. Not necessarily more productive, but just busier. And I feel like a lot of people are concerned like how they're going to juggle all the many things that they're juggling and raise a family at the same time. There's a lot of couples that are getting married, but they're just choosing to not bring children into the world. And so we kind of just wanted to discuss with Ruth, who's been married a decade and has 4 children and she's active in ministry and she has this really busy full life. We just kind of wanted to just get as much wisdom from her as we could about how does she juggle it? How does she do it? What made her, decide in this time period to kind of defy the odds and have that family that she has. And yeah, so we'll kind of let you start off, Ruth, and just let us know, one, how are you juggling it?
Yeah.
I am a really supportive husband. Really supportive husband. And I think that's a plus. I could not do it without him. But I also have a really good support system in my church and with my family and friends. So that definitely plays a role. Like if you didn't have that, I can imagine that being really difficult. But I actually had to pursue that and build that. Like I had to say, I want to have the support system in my life. I don't right now. When I first had the kids, like I had my husband and my family, but I really had to be like, I'm going to be a part of MOPS. I'm going to be a part of my mom's group. I'm going to reach out to my church. I'm going to be involved. And it was an active decision and it really paid off because now I have a group of women behind me that are really helpful. But it's hard because in the beginning, you don't know anyone and you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And you feel like, I mean, how I feel, I don't know how every person feels, but you feel like you go out with a kid and say they have their first tantrum and they're yelling and screaming. You're like, I'm a bad mom. Like, I don't know. They hit a kid. I'll never forget the first time Elijah bit somebody. I was like, my child's never going to do that. My child has bit somebody. I'm the parent. You get humbled real quick.
Right.
But I think sometimes when your kid does have tantrums or you don't know what you're doing or you're overwhelmed, it's really easy not to go out. And I think that that's not healthy. Like you have to force yourself as a mom to get out there.
Yeah.
And not just like stay. I mean, some people say, I'm a stay-at-home mom, or they work and then they stay home pretty much with their kid all the time. And I do understand the aspect, but I think there has to be a balance of getting out the house and making sure you take your kids out. And it's okay. Some people are going to judge you. I mean, it happens.
Right.
But I think having a girl night, having one, like every Thursday night is my night.
Nice.
And
nice.
I need it.
You deserve it.
And Ben
He
has his night. Because he works a lot
Yeah.
in the day, so he puts the kids to sleep, and then he has his night, and then I have my girl night. I go out, I do whatever I want to. Like I have a budget of money I can spend. It's just really helpful to me.
I like that.
He's able to have that time to do that, and then he does his music or whatever he He loves to write and read books and stuff. And he has his time. And if he, like, once a month, I always tell him, go meet up with one of your guy friends.
Yes.
I kind of have to push him. I don't know if other people are like that with their husbands. But for him, I kind of have to say, I want you to go hang out with some other guys.
Right. Because he loves his family.
He does. But I think it's important for them. I mean, if someone that you trust, like he has really good friends, it's important for them to get together and talk.
Absolutely.
And just like it's important for me, I think it's really important to the people who are local to you to try to keep in contact with them. You have to make tons of contact, but like that kind of thing is just so healthy.
Don't be afraid to take your children out.
Yeah.
Get out with them. Now, during this time, with everything that's going on with COVID, I know we are starting to sort of like reopen and you know, get back to normal, but how have you guys been dealing with it?
Well, COVID is a totally different
monster.
We haven't been able to go really anywhere, but we just started going to my mom's house. So that's where I take them.
Yeah.
Some people don't have that option.
Right.
Like, I don't know, somebody who is just like a family member or someone who you trust, take them to their house. Like, go out to that one person's house that you can think of. Someone who is comfortable around your kids and who isn't going to judge you. Like, I would go out once a week there. If you have like one kid and you're able to go for a walk, one or two kids maybe you have 4 kids or 3 kids like me, it's kind of hard to take the kids anywhere.
Right.
I bet.
I'm back all, by yourself. Ooh.
And I don't like that. I actually think it's a security risk. If it's in an isolated area, which you would want to be in right now because of COVID, I just don't think it's smart. I think it's like, if you're going to go for a walk, go with your husband. That's what we do. You know? Or it's better to go with a partner. Go with a partner or a close friend. Like, I wouldn't go by yourself with kids. It's just a security risk.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll go with Ben. That's why I go to my mom's house, like, as of right now in COVID.
I find it difficult to have to maintain really strong relationships with your friends that do not have children.
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on the person. It depends on if they're willing to hang out with me with my kids.
Right. Do you find that most of them are?
You know, I do actually. I find most of them would. They kind of are. But when it comes to, like, you know, the random, like, hey, we're all going out to Fridays. Like, I can't go to those things. It's sad. And, you know, you feel bad that you can't, you know, be spontaneous. But I think they understand it. Like, as far as that, you know, you kind of feel that distance. Like, oh, I'm not. But then they have kids.
Right.
And they understand.
and they call you up at 2 a.m. when their child is screaming. And you're like, oh, hi.
Yep.
I'll never have to be sensitive to the friends who do want to have kids or who are single. It's really difficult.
That's true.
And hard for them. So I try my best. I mean, I have a couple of friends who would love to be married and are not yet. And so I try my best to hang out with them without kids because I know how sensitive it is to them. So you have to, this is the season of the friendship I'm in.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, I don't remember ever being in the season of waiting for a husband because that didn't really happen for me.
That didn't happen.
But I do remember waiting for a kid and it being a hard thing and a challenging situation. So I try to, you know, think of that, be a little sensitive.
Yeah.
In that
Absolutely.
aspect. So you're going to have, you know, in friendships, the same with the marriage, you know, you're going to have seasons where you're closer.
Right.
People, and you got to be okay with that. Like, sometimes people, their distance not really has anything to do with you. It has to do with the life of the stage of life they're at.
Right.
Yes.
and your
Yes.
life don't always mesh. But it is cool when you have a friend who gets pregnant and you guys are pregnant at the same time. And it's like,
I know, like for me, like being married and not having children, like I feel like it's a completely different language. Like even though, of course, we can all relate on being married, but like that's why I say like I'm just taking mental notes right now, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful because it's you know, I know even for me, like at times I might kind of distance myself, but it's because I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't want to be a burden. You know, I know that person must be so busy, you know, because like I can't like just being a mother, having one child alone, like I know how, not personally, but I understand how much
Yeah.
that can be. So I kind of like, I guess you can say I kind of pull back a little bit, but it's because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they must not have any time, you know, or I don't want to interrupt this or do that. But yeah.
Well, I think, you know, a great way to be there for someone sometimes is saying, hey, I'll babysit for you.
Mm,
Yes.
Show up
Yeah.
at the house with
Yeah.
food.
Yes.
That's nice.
And say, hey, I'm here to have, I'll hold that baby for you. I mean, I always dream of somebody who shows up to my house with coffee and food and willing to hold a baby. Oh, dream.
Like what you said about just making sure that you have a good support system.
Yes.
And I mean, that's so important. And I know that I couldn't have done it without my husband. There's no way. So,
Yes.
and then speaking
Yes.
of that, I have a question for you. Now you said earlier that your husband doesn't get to see the children as much as you do. How do you kind of divide your responsibilities as husband and wife, as mother and father? Do you kind of both go with like the traditional?
Well, sort of.
Yeah.
So because we both work together at Steps in the non-for-profit, I take on a volunteer role.
Mm-hmm.
And then he works 4 Steps plus he does web design. It can be a long day. When he is in-house, like at Steps, like I try to incorporate, we eat lunch together. We always eat meals together. When he is here, we always eat dinner together and we always eat breakfast together. So that does help. And like as of the season we're in right now, I'm the main person with the kids.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in parenting situations, you're going to have seasons where one person is with them more than the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to give grace to both sides because it sucks for him not to see the kids as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so just when they come home, like me, you know, being aware of like, so I'm in the season where I make dinner and when they come home, I try to have dinner ready when he comes home and have the kids at a place where they can spend time with him.
Yeah.
So we can have dinner together and in the evening when he's around with them, like we can all hang out before they go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think that evening where it's just him and the kids, it's so important. And we have one day a week where it's family day, and that's Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not plan anything. Nope. I try not to
Awesome.
plan anything on Saturday.
Awesome.
Just
Yeah.
keep that a family day because Sunday, you know, he volunteers and does stuff for our church. And that stuff he's really passionate about, and I really believe in it. So I support him in that, even though it does take him away from our family a little bit more. But on Saturday, he is around. But it's just like a season. I think when you set something in stone, like, oh, the wife is always going to be with the kids, I think that's kind of a bad thing. I think it's more like this is what we're going to do for now.
Right.
And whether it's the wife or the husband or vice versa or both of us, your seasons change.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I think you have to empower both people and see both sides of the coin. Instead of, like, for me, traditionally, like, I get it a lot. People are like, oh, so are you stay-home mom? And I even hate to say that because they give you that look. You know what I mean? That
like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and you feel like it is. But for us, it's kind of unique because we live in a community center too. So I don't really know what it's like to live like the quote unquote normal stay-at-home mom life as of right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
help out
busy.
a lot,
Yeah.
and the kids are really involved in what we do. So like, well, COVID-19, we're really on pause. But if we're passing out groceries, I'll take the kids with me. Or if we're doing something, the kids are involved in it.
Yeah.
You're saying like it's seasonal.
Yeah.
It's seasonal. And I think that's something that could kind of scare us people who don't have children yet. Like it can be a little scary, like, oh my goodness, well, am I gonna be stuck doing this, or is this person gonna be stuck doing that? But I like how you said, like, and not only is it seasonal, but look at it from those different angles. Look at the positives of this and that. So thank you for sharing that.
Brittany, it really is seasonal, and your kids grow up so fast. And I think part of it is too, like, how you teach your kids to do things around the house. Like my kids, Isabel's 2 and Elijah's 4 and Luke is 1, and they all help unload the dishwasher.
Awesome.
Nice.
Like,
Awesome.
they can do little things to help, and they can be. Elijah's my big helper, so I think like you can incorporate them in helping and doing things, to show them, like, give them a sense of responsibility. You don't have to be super strict or whatever, but I think you'd be surprised how much, like, kids, I feel like they add a lot of life.
Yeah.
And I think people miss out. Like, I think I actually feel younger. I feel more alive.
Yeah.
They keep me on my toes, and I'm constantly having to use my brain to keep up.
Yeah.
Like, and there are and you probably agree, Brianna, like, so many things I thought I couldn't do that I realized I can live on 3 hours of sleep.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
5 hours is my good number. Like, as long as I get 5 hours, I am good to go. It doesn't have to be straight through. It can be interrupted, but it's okay.
We always say to each other, like, what did we do with our money? What did we do with our time?
Just wasted it, all of it.
I don't know. I feel so much better with money. I'm so much more better with my time. I'm so much more better organized. And it sounds weird, but you have to be, unless you want to live in chaos.
Right.
Yes.
But it forces you to grow up. And I feel like I've grown up a lot.
I agree. I'm like, oh, this is what being an adult feels like.
And it's not that you really want to. I mean, I think you face a lot of your own selfishness. Like, hey, I don't really want to do the dishes, but if they stack up,
nobody else is gonna do it.
Gotta do it.
You gotta do what you gotta do, and you do have more energy. It's like they say, like, a body in motion stays in motion, and I feel like you just don't know how to sit down.
It's hard, especially every time I'm on the phone. It's like my kids have this thing. Mom is on the phone. Let's all yell at the same time. Like, I'll be on the phone. I'll never forget this. I was on the phone. And I was just, on the phone. And while I'm on the phone, I hear the kitchen chair go. I look into the, kitchen, and there is Elijah pushing Isabel to the cupboard, and they're both climbing up, and they got spoons, and they're having sugar.
Oh.
And Elijah said, "Come on, you can do it, Isabel."
Well, he was encouraging her,
And then I came in, and he said to me, "Mom, Isabel has sugar."
No. Speaking of being on the phone, how do you limit, like, screen time, phone time when you're with your kids? Do you spend time on the phone watching TV when you're with your children? Do you let them watch a lot of TV and have a lot of screen time?
Well, I feel like this is like one of those, for parenting, for me, I feel like everything is like air and trial.
Yeah.
So you try it and see if it works. In the beginning, Ben and I never had a TV. And then when Elijah was like a year, we got a TV.
Yeah.
Probably the worst decision we ever made. Because it was really bad for him. For us, anyway. He just got really addicted to it. And then, what was it? 6 months ago, we got rid of our TV. And it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't describe it any other way. Like, it was really hard for me because I really like to watch the news. And I do have my phone and my computer. And then recently I deactivated my Facebook because I felt convicted that I was on my phone too much.
Yes.
Not with my kids. I'm actually pretty good with that. But as soon as Ben came in, I would want to check my messages.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you're home. And so I would go to the bathroom and be in there. And I know. And then, like, he'd be, after we put the kids to sleep, he would be like, where did you go? And so we kind of we try to do a date night once a week, but even besides that, we try to, after we put the kids down to sleep, try to talk before we go to bed, and I just be on my phone. So I'm trying to switch that, where like I wake up earlier in the morning, and because I have exercising bike, I exercise and then I just go on my phone when I'm exercising.
Okay.
So better. I it's a trial and error. I just feel like it's kind of hard because for me it's really hard because I have people who message me like here and there, like, oh, this is happening or this is an emergency, and so it's hard for me to say no sometimes, and people get mad at me because they can't get a hold of me 24/7. But I can't, at this season that I'm in, I can't be available.
Yes.
That's hard for me because I want to be, but so I'm still trying to figure it out. So it's a great question. I mean, I wish I had the answer. My kids wake up kind of early. I mean, it's better in the summertime. Well, better now, but they're up by 7:30.
Yeah.
So I have to be up like at 6, and if I'm not up, taking a shower, getting ready for bed, or getting ready for the day before they get up, then my day is totally awful. Because there's nothing worse than Ben going to work and I haven't even had a shower. And let's face it, I'm not going to get a shower until he comes home.
Yeah.
Right.
Or nap time. That's why I'm really big on nap time. But usually nap time, that's the time that I clean.
Yeah.
I didn't know about my first kid. I know now, but I didn't know then. Whatever you do with your first kid, really important because the other kids follow the first kid. So whatever I gave Elijah juice right away. Dumb. I wouldn't do that again. But I don't have a choice. I already did it. So now he has a sweet tooth, and all he does is influences my other kids to have sugar, and it's pain. It's pain in the neck. But I have to retrack. So anything I've done with him, it's kind of trickled down to the rest of them. But the nap thing, I did well with him, and all 3 of them are on the schedule. So I have that 2-hour window every day.
Excellent.
But it took work to me because I can be working and he can stay in his room. And I'm teaching him a really good discipline, which is people need space. Mommy.
Right.
And friends are going to need space. People are going to, it's an important lesson, not just for my own sanity, but for him to realize that you have to give people space. And you need space to think.
That's right.
So,
I would just say one of my main takeaways would be that you have to see what works for you and your family.
Yes.
Between you and your spouse. I think just hearing both of you ladies speak, you know, like you both have such supportive husbands, and that's another important thing, you know, in raising a family. You know, you don't want to do this thing by yourself. You know, you definitely want to have your dependable spouse, really, because that's how God intended it, was for people to be married. You know, like and of course, you know, there are single parents out there, and I, you know, my hats go off to you in what you do. But in saying that, for those who don't have a family or who may not be married right now, I would say to just be prayerful and, you know, let God, you know, allow yourself to be married, you know, to that person, and raise your family together, you know. So I think that's what I'm hearing from you ladies, you know.
And I would just add, if you are single, you should look for someone that you could see being a father.
Amen.
Because,
Amen.
and also, like, if they were to lose their looks or lose their legs or something, could you still stand to be with them? Do they have a good personality? Do they make you laugh? Do they, like, how do they handle stress? Because when
That's
it comes to parenting, you are tested.
Yes.
And how someone, I think, like, if you're dating someone or engaged to someone, you need to be around them when they're with their parents, or be around with them when they're in a very stressful situation, and see how they handle it. If, you know, if they're handling it not good, you need to really take note and, you know, talk through it. I don't think it should be a make or break, but you really need to know who you're marrying.
Yes, you do.
And if
Yeah,
you're able
absolutely.
to deal with that, because, you know, being married can be stressful when you're trying to figure out bills and things like that. And so it comes out, anybody, you know, and then add on kids and add on life and all of that other stuff. So you have to make sure the person you're with is somebody who you can just do life with and joke around with, and who is another thing that I really think about, who can keep your confidence, who doesn't share. You know, at work, you don't have to worry about them sharing your personal businesses, you know, with the coworkers.
Yeah.
I had seen a lot of people do that when I worked. They would share personal information about their wife or husband at work. And it's awful.
Yeah.
And you want to be with somebody who would never do that to you.
Yes.
Who would
And
never
speak
do
life,
that.
like you said, to speak
Yeah.
positivity and speak life.
Even
Absolutely.
if you have an issue, they would work it out with you, but they would not do that to you.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say you get in a fight, they're not going to go tell 20 people how horrible you are.
Yeah.
I might tell one person, but
with a couple that had been married over 80 years. The man was 103 years old. The woman was like 101 years old. And they were asked, you know, give us some, you know, marital advice. How did you make it work that long? And they said, we kept people out of our business. Like, we kept our life private. And I feel like in this day and age, people feel like they have so much access to your life because of like social media and stuff like that.
And like, don't go to counseling, or
Definitely.
I actually think my 5 tricks to a really healthy marriage. And I know we're short on time, but really, I think have life saved my marriages. Every year we do a marriage kind of thing, like marriage book, marriage conference. We've done it since the beginning. We have date night once a week. We always celebrate our monthly anniversary.
I love it.
And we go away somewhere, whether it's a hotel or somewhere, you know, maybe a weekend, once a year, just Ben and I.
Nice.
And we have made it work, and we're going to make it work with the 4 kids because we're determined to make it work.
That's right.
It'll be hard this year with COVID, but like, I think making time for each other and making time to talk to each other, but also like we each have a person like that, we each have mentors, kind of like people that we can talk to. So if Ben gets in a fight with me, I want him to be able to talk to someone, but I want to know who those people are.
That's
right. So he has 3 people, 3 guys that he can talk to, and I have 3 women that I can talk to.
Awesome.
And I think it's good not to share, deep personal things with the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Oh, yes.
mad at your husband. Don't go vent to your good guy friend. I don't think it's healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
you got to have those boundaries. And I think if you're careful with who you share your information with, you can really protect yourself from
Absolutely.
that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's my tip.
Love it.
Yes. I remember before I got married, Ruth shared those tips with me, and I have, I don't do all of them. I say I don't do all of them, but then again, I just made 1 year, so maybe I haven't had time to do all of them yet. But
we haven't had time to do a year away or a year.
But had it not been for COVID, we would have definitely went out somewhere. But we'll make that up. But honestly, like a lot of what you shared with me, Ruth, and I shared it with Bree too. Like, it's so helpful. It's so helpful, and I know there's things that Bree shared with me as well. And it's just like, yeah. So I'm just waiting for you ladies to write all of this stuff down in a big book for me as far as parenting, and I'm ready for the book. Yeah, but it's so helpful. It's so helpful. It really is.
Amen.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Being here with us. I mean, we appreciate all the wisdom.
Yes, the experience, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. God bless you. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.